Good evening, all of you. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay, thank you. So, today we are going to talk about critical thinking and creative thinking. So, can anybody can tell me what is critical thinking actually means? Like, what do you mean by critical thinking? Anybody can just write an answer over there. What does critical thinking actually means? So let me tell you, critical thinking is a systematic evaluation and analysis of information and ideas for a judgment or decision. So, objectivity in critical thinking means evaluating information and making decisions based on facts, evidences, logical reasoning rather than personal biases. Like, you have to have facts, you have to collect the facts, the logic behind it, and so that you can give a proper judgment. So you can make it. So now you can just see the slide where the proper description has been given, and it has been cut down in, like, you can see the objectivity of critical thinking, considering multiple perspectives and avoiding biases. Analysis, breaking down complex informations into smaller parts. Like, आपका बड़ा कोई भी information जो है उसको part by part, like when you are explaining something to the children, how do you explain it? So you have to break it down. जो complex part है उसको simplicity में आप break down कीजिए, so that you can get a what you call a concrete solution or a judgment or an answer for it. Then how do we evaluate it? Assessing the credibility, relevance, and usefulness of the information. The information what you have got, you have to assess that, the credibility of that, the relevance of that, the usefulness of that information. Then interference, drawing logical conclusion based on evidence. Now, whatever evidences you have produced, or whatever evidences, or whatever like you have given your I mean your what priority, or you have chosen, you have to be concrete about it. Okay, you have to be very logical about it, so to come to a conclusion. Then comes problem solving, identifying solutions and making informed decisions. So you have to identify the solution, and then you have to make concrete information and decisions. Then, evaluating in critical thinking, actually, you can say it means it's a process providing feedback and guiding you to proper improvement. Just ask them, are you audible or not? Am I audible? If I'm audible, kindly put a thumbs up. I think there is some network issue. Am I audible? If I'm audible, please put a thumbs up. Participants, am I audible? Okay. Okay, then we continue. So, what I want to say is evaluating in critical thinking is a process where you are provided by feedbacks and guided, so that which guides you for your improvement. Or, in other words, you can say it is a process of assessing credibility and usefulness of informations, arguments, or solutions. You have to come down to a solution. A complex thing has been brought down to a simpler way to make it more simpler, and then you come to the the logical way. You put the facts and you put them all together, and you solve that problem in a proper concrete decision, so that you have proper what you can say you're not biased, you have proper evidences, you can say, or proper objective should be clear, everything should be done to decide the solve the problem in a negative complex situation. When you have a negative complex situation, you have proper ideas, or you have enough of materials to show, so that you can go to it. Next, we talk about, when we talk about critical thinking, it how now we can say that it is critical thinking, but how it helps the children in school. Critical thinking, we know, but it should be whatever we talk, like it has to be helpful for our kids, for our children. So, how do we help? We move on to the next slide. Critical thinking, now I told you, no, so how it is like make informations and make informed decisions, everything. So then you have solve complex problems, evaluate your problems and informations effectively, avoid misformations and biases, think creatively and innovative. Okay, now how can we help our children in our school so that critical thinking, how can it help them to get better grades? Because whatever we do in school, it should be, useful for our children, right? Children means our students. So how do we help them? So I can show you how we can help them. Before that, I can just tell you that it can help the students to get better grades by breaking down informations, identifying pattern and make connections. Like suppose you get a situation, so you have to think about it, you break down those situation in small groups or small parts, and then you have to identify the main part of it and then jot down to the connection. So you have to make a big suppose for the children, if we say it is a it's a solving problem in breaking it down and making it simpler way to understand it. Okay, the students they can organize their thoughts and present clear and concise arguments. Okay, so they have their own thoughts. If you give them a problem and tell them to solve that, or you can give them any situation, like in a classroom situation you can give them, for example, and you want them to come out with a concrete solution. So how will they work on it? So they will be breaking down those situations, then joining those dots, filling up those gaps, and then they should have facts also in that, which will come up to a concrete argument which has no biasism in that. Okay, they can be engaged with materials and explore concepts. It helps in improving their skills also, because they are thinking, their level of thinking happens with their skills. They use their own skills, their own creativity, and they use their own mind in various subjects. They are exposed to the real world scenario. You can give a real world scenario, a scenario of a classroom or scenario of an incident, anything, like an incident which took place, anything like Operation Sindoor or anything, whatever you feel like according to your subject, you can give them and tell them, okay, this is the situation which I've given you, or this is the scenario which I've given you, but I want you to come with it with the real facts, said, so that there is no discrimination. The facts should be real. But how will they gather the facts? They will be using their own creativity. They will think on their own level, and you divide them into groups, into team, so that they learn the teamwork also, and then they come to a conclusion, because every team member will have their own ideas, and then they will join those ideas and come with a concrete solution, so that will help them in exposure to the real world scenario also. So now I will just show you a video on critical thinking. So you can just see that and understand what it actually means.
Is all about asking questions.
It is audible? Is the video audible? Just put a thumbs up.
The significance of claims and arguments.
Is the video audible? Yes. Okay. We continue with the video.
Building these skills and applying them in your life makes it easier for you to assess evidence, evaluate arguments, and adapt your thinking so you stay switched on and engaged in different situations. Critical thinking involves stepping back from a situation to enable you to see all the angles before making judgments or taking decisions. It means identifying the key points, analyzing the sources of information, weighing up different types of evidence, just as a judge and jury would do in a court of law, and putting it all together into your own independent, thought-through point of view. One thing that it's very important to realize is that critical thinking isn't about being critical. And it's about much more than just finding flaws in other people's claims. By itself, that isn't enough to give you an edge. To be a true critical thinker means being creative, reflective, and adaptable, evaluating the evidence to decide for yourself what is accurate, what is relevant, and do I have sufficient information to take a decision on this topic. Thinking critically means taking a stand for yourself. It can be difficult not to be swayed by close family or friends' views on things, or certain beliefs that just feel right. But learning how to use these higher order thinking skills can help you to feel much more confident in your own opinions and conclusions. Critical thinking is also about a sense of discovery and excitement. Not only about learning, but evaluating arguments to see how they stand up, and filtering for yourself what resonates as right or wrong. By using these techniques, you'll find yourself becoming a clearer, better thinker. McCad, learn better, think smarter, aim higher.
So now it was the video made it more clear what I wanted to talk about critical thinking. So critical thinking even involves life skill. So what is life? How can we say that life skills are involved in critical thinking? Because it provides numerous long-term benefits as to make information, how it benefits, the informations are being benefited, the decisions and the choices in elections and community involvement is there. Then engaged in meaningful discussions and debates. Okay, so if you have meaningful discussions and debates which will help the children building up in their life skills. Then the adaptability and risk taking, that is more important. Now children should be matured, or they should be self, you can say in school we should make them self dependent on taking risk. If they don't take the risk from now onwards, risk in the right path, okay, so what will happen in future? So they will not be more depressed or something like that when they start taking risk in the early school age only. So critical thinking not only helps the children in getting connected with the community or meaningful decisions, debates, all those things, but it also helps the children in adapting the risk taking also. So developing life skills also boosts the self assurance in critical thinking. Here you can see there are three major points which have been given, that is informed decisions, then analytic thinking, and effective communication. So effective communication, what is it? Critical thinking helps students to articulate their thoughts, options and ideas more clearly. Okay, so more clearly means children will, they will be more clear. Then actually how it will build the life skills. We all talk about life skills, building life skills, but how do we start all these things? Until and unless we give a scenario, we give a situation to work on it, so nothing can take place. And real based thing, facts are more important, and it remains with the child for a long time, because the facts, they are working on it. They will see how difficult it is to get those collect those informations, or when they are for debates also. So when they are means when they are debating, so one is for against and one is for, so they will be having enough of material to talk about what they are talking, the facts about what they are talking, so that risk taking also will be there in that. Now even we can say that critical thinking has numerous long term benefit. Now if we talk about what is the benefits of critical thinking, I told you the benefits for the students, but it has long term benefits. So there are long term benefits are like preparation for higher education. Now, as I told you, risk taking. Now, mostly we see children when they appear for NIT exams or joint exams, so they do not qualify in the first attempt, many of them. So they get depressed. Okay, so that risk taking thing is not in them. They don't go for any other thing. They become more. They are. Some of them are very very depressed. Some come out of it. Okay, so they should be prepared from the school level itself that risk is always there, and they should be, strong enough to face any type of risk. Okay, then career readiness. They should have options for the career. Not only that, whatever, there are a lot of careers. So we say that career counseling is very much important in schools from class 9 onwards. Okay, so career readiness is there. Employers value critical thinking skills as they enable individuals to solve problems, make information decisions, and adapt to new situations. In the same way, we can say that critical thinking has numerous long term benefits as the students can be engaged in meaningful decisions, debates, media literacy. You have seen nowadays CBSE is coming up with so many skill education, and then we have vocational educations. So even there are a lot of opportunities in job now, creating your own job, like media literacy is also one of them. Then they can be involved in productive discussions, then teamwork. They will be able, to be well planned or well prepared for success in higher education and beyond. Then informed citizenship, you can see it is there. Critical thinking helps the students to become informed, engaged, and critically thinking citizens. Okay, capable of practicing in democratic processes and making information decisions, informed decisions. So by incorporating critical thinking into their education, students can develop a strong foundation for academic success and personal growth in their lifelong learning. So it is not a short term, it is a lifelong learning, and we should encourage this from a base level in the school, so that with the depends upon the age group, you can give situations, scenarios according, so that children come out with good ideas. So we move on to the next slide. So creative thinking. So let me just explain you what is creative thinking actually means. Now, over here it is written that creative thinking is the ability to generate innovative idea solutions or products by thinking outside the box and making novel connections. Okay, so but what is actually the meaning of creative thinking? There is a difference between creative thinking and critical thinking. For so long, we were talking about critical thinking. Now we are talking about creative thinking. But it is a very vast thing. Creative thinking and critical thinking is a very vast, thing which we need to learn, which cannot be covered in one session. But I have tried my best to give you the important points, so that at least you know the difference between creative thinking and critical thinking, and the main key points in which will be helpful for your classroom teaching. So actually creative thinking helps the students to develop valuable skills and become more innovative and reach their full potential. So they, everybody has their potentials in them. Okay, maybe every child is not good in studies, or but some or the other way the child is good in some skills or some vocational education somewhere. God has created every human being with some or the other good in them. Okay, so by the above strategies what is mentioned over here, like imagination, then we have originality, flexibility, risk taking. So these are the strategies where the educators can foster imagination, flexibility, and risk taking in students, so that it can promote creative thinking in innovations. Students learn to brainstorm and generate ideas without judgment. Here they are brainstorming their ideas and generating their ideas without any judgment. They are free to do this without any judgment. They learn to visualize concepts on ideas or come outs of it, what are the outcomes of it. So they think creatively, they have a creative mind. So without any judgment, they create a creative mind, they come out with their creative thinking with different ideas. You divide them into teams, you will see in one team, if you divide five children in a group, suppose a group of five children, you will have five different ideas. So each idea, if you collect, suppose if you have 50 children in your class and you divide them into five group of five, so how many ideas you are going to get? So that is what it actually means. So they visualize that concept, they come up with their own ideas, the imaginations and all. Okay, but risk taking should also be there. So I'll just show you a video so that you're very clear about what I want to talk about creative thinking.
Imagine you are hungry and all you have at home is a coconut, some rice, and an egg. If you have no clue and zero creative thoughts, you'd probably eat the raw egg with unboiled hard rice while staring at the coconut. If, however, you have memories of your dad cracking the coconut and your mum boiling the rice, your brain can connect the dots and form a new creative idea. You boil the rice in coconut water, then fry it with the egg and add coconut flakes. Voila! Enjoy your meal. Creativity is our ability to look at a problem and come up with a good solution to solve it. Once we understand this, we realize that it has nothing to do with the subject matter, job, or what we study. There are creative inventors and creative artists, but there are also very creative cleaners and highly creative teachers. People we worship for their creativity often just connect different ideas in a beautiful new way and make them commercially successful. While all of us are creative, we differ in the way that we are and to what extent. Michael Keaton came up with the adaptation innovation theory. He believes that when we solve problems, we are either more adaptive or more innovative. People who are more adaptive creative try to do things better. People who are more innovative creative try to do things differently. To solve a specific problem, say that of smelly cat litter, both types would use a different approach. More adaptive types look for a solution inside the box. They might try to create better cat litter by looking at its chemical properties, then increase the size of the sand particles, and finally add some refreshing tropical scent. More innovative creatives think outside the litter box. They come up with cat diapers, cat schools for good manners, or a robo-cat. But there are also other differences. Psychologist J.P. Guilford and some others argue that there is divergent and convergent thinking. More divergent thinkers are better at coming up with lots of ideas when they see a problem. Convergent thinkers see all the details and are better at narrowing down the options. A diverse team is hence usually most effective when trying to solve problems. A divergent thinker can list many ideas. After, a convergent thinker can then look at each option in detail and then pick the best one. The result is better than if anyone would do it by themselves. A murder mystery experiment involving two groups of students shows how creative diversity works. Group A was full of students from the same background. Group B was also all similar, but joined by one single stranger. The students from Group A enjoyed the process and felt like they worked together very well. The students in Group B didn't like having a stranger in their team, but they solved the mystery twice as fast and won the race. The researchers concluded that the stranger added a new perspective, making the group think harder and making them more careful of drawing fast conclusions or falling into groupthink. The result was a more intelligent problem-solving process. If we want to become more creative, we first have to build a collection of knowledge and memories, ideally by seeking new experiences. Only then can we increase the dots in our brain that we can connect. Clayton Christensen from Harvard Business School recommends that parents should fix things at home all by themselves. Their children then learn that problems can be solved by ourselves and in many different ways. Jack Matson, professor of creativity at Penn State University, recommends to dress for failure. This gives us a new perspective and the ability to play new roles. Mark Schvinn, founder of Minute Videos, suggests practicing saying yes, because whenever we say yes, we open the door to new experiences. Can you help me? Want to try my ice cream? Can I talk to you? Yes, yes, yes. We recommend you do one thing you have never done before every day for at least 1 week, maybe a month. Call your weird aunt, talk to a stranger, eat using your left hand, or take a really, really cold shower. Every evening, write down what you did and what you've learned from it. Start with the first new thing right now and share your experience in the comments below right after.
If you want, you can take a screenshot of this. So actually, I think it is clear that what is creative thinking. No, so creative thinking, what it tells us, it all tells us to work together, share ideas, then find how will it help in your classroom, how will it help your students. Okay, as teachers, how will it benefit your students? Now, creative thinking, the first thing is that it helps in teamwork. It says to share ideas and find their voice to express their ideas confidently. Students have that confidence to exchange their ideas or come up with their ideas with confidence. That is very important. Okay, they receive feedbacks. They should be, now when we talk about risk taking, so the thing is that the student should be open minded to receive feedbacks, whether it is negative or positive. And a negative feedback always helps a student to come up with good ideas or come up to realize where or how that means judgment he had made, or what he had delivered, that speech, where he went wrong or where she went wrong, to work upon it. So as students also I say, as teachers also I say, we should, as human beings also, we should always be open minded to take up feedbacks. Feedback always helps us to become more better. Okay, try to accept the negative feedback where you're lacking behind, so that you can work on your uh, you know wherever your loopholes are there, you can work on it. Like we say about experiential learning also, like with experience, how did you learn? So even that is like a feedback, also helps in taking up risk. If the children are not ready to take up negative feedback, so what is the thing? So risk taking should be there from the beginning. It involves in creative thinking also, it involves in critical thinking also. And that not only confidently they express the ideas, they have the voice to say, they receive the feedbacks and refine their work. See, not only that they are accepting it, but they are also refining their work. They are also building up on that, and they become more confident after that. The students develop innovative solutions, express themselves authentically, and prepare for success in an ever changing world. You see, world is changing so fast, it is changing each and every day. So they become, they are prepared for their success. Slowly slowly in the school only they are getting prepared. Now creative thinking, you can see on the screen how it is written. It is written about solve complex problems, develop innovative solutions, express themselves authentically, adapt to change environments. They should have that adaptability to change according to the situations, according to the environment. It's a valuable skill in many areas, including art, design, business, science, and personal growth. So it helps in the personal growth also. So let's move to the next slide. It is about creative thinking, how it helps the children. I told you how it helps them in their school, how it helps the students in their school. Now we can see that in how it benefits them in the academic way. If we say how it benefits them, so improve problem solving. Creative thinking enables students to approach problems from different angles, leading to more effective solutions. Second is enhanced learning. By making connections between seeming unrelated concepts, students retain information better and develop a deeper understanding. So they have a deeper understanding. Okay, they relate the concepts by making connections between them. And third is increased engagement. Creative thinking makes learning more enjoyable, interactive, and fun. How it makes? Because when we are working in team, it really makes it more creative. You are getting more creative ideas, you're getting more ideas. One head, you will get one idea. Five heads, you will get five different ideas. So that is called the creativity, and one group can come up with such beautiful ideas. So they exchange the ideas. Okay, so we move on to the next one, that is about developing essential skills. So how do we develop essential skills? So innovation, then how innovation, critical thinking, and communication. So that's very important. Critical thinking is also here. Innovation, students learn to engage, to generate new ideas, products, or solutions. Critical thinking, what now? Critical, we are coming up to critical, creative, both, which complements and helps the students to evaluate information and make informed decisions. Okay, make informed decisions. So what happens? Both of them. Now this is how we are developing the skills, including creative and critical thinking. Okay, when we are merging both, what happens? That creativity also come up with complements which are based on critical thinking, and your creativity is also there on the other hand. Then communication, students communicate with each other. Now if at all you just go to the class and you are dictating and all, do the children enjoy so much? Or they enjoy more in classroom activities when you divide them into group? They must be. My idea is that my experience says that I would rather go in dividing children in group activities, because it exchanges their ideas, their thoughts. They learn to work in team. Their skills improve. Then their developments and dependent upon their colleagues, upon their friends. They become more open minded, like that, than being more self sufficient. So if you agree to me, how many of you agree to me, can put yes or no. If you agree that you like to work on teamwork, helps the children to be more self confident, and to be more so yes. Okay, so nice. So many of y'all have written that you agree to it. So I hope you will do that practice in your classrooms also. And now there is a very short video to make you understand the difference between creative and critical thinking, so that you can understand the basic difference in creative and critical thinking. Very nicely it has been defined. So please see this video. You can make your own decisions according to this. You will be crystal clear. So please.
Between critical thinking and creativity is a dynamic interplay that fuels innovation and problem solving across various fields. Critical thinking involves analyzing information, assessing outcomes, and making reasoned decisions, while creativity is the ability to generate new ideas and think outside the box. Together, these skills create a powerful synergy that enhances our capacity to tackle complex challenges and produce groundbreaking solutions. When critical thinking is present in the creative process, It helps to evaluate the viability of new ideas. Creative individuals can brainstorm imaginative concepts, but it is critical thinking that sifts through these ideas, identifying which are worth pursuing. This evaluative aspect ensures that creativity doesn't lead to just any solution, but rather to those that are practical and effective. By combining imaginative thinking with a structured analysis, individuals and teams can refine their ideas into actionable plans. Moreover, critical thinking encourages open-mindedness and a willingness to question assumptions. Creative thinking often thrives in an environment where individuals feel free to express unconventional ideas. Critical thinkers challenge status quo perspectives, promoting a culture of inquiry and exploration. This atmosphere fosters creativity, as individuals are inspired to think boldly without the fear of immediate judgment. Thus, critical thinking lays the groundwork for a resilient creative process, allowing for exploration, experimentation, and ultimately, innovation. In turn, creativity can also enhance critical thinking by bringing in diverse perspectives and novel approaches to problem solving. When faced with a challenge, creative thinkers often visualize solutions in radically different ways, which can broaden the analytical framework of critical thinkers. With fresh ideas, critical thinkers become more adaptable and open to alternative solutions. This reciprocal relationship not only elevates creative output, but also strengthens reasoning capabilities, showcasing how integrating both skills leads to better decision-making. In conclusion, critical thinking and creativity are interdependent elements that drive progress and innovation. Embracing both allows individuals and organizations to navigate complexities more effectively. By fostering an environment where both critical thinking and creativity can flourish, we can unlock the full potential of innovation, paving the way for transformative ideas that can change the world. Balancing these skills not only enhances personal development, but also shapes the future of industries and societies alike.
So I hope the video has made it clear what I wanted to tell you all, the difference between critical thinking and creative thinking. So now we have one more, see the real world application. What does real world application actually means? Real world application means when we actually come practice all these things in reality. Future ready skills. What is future ready skills? Creative thinking is essential for success in today's fast paced, ever changing world. Like how I told you earlier, that we should be ready for the changes. Students should be ready for the changes. Just before the video, I had showed you a slide in which it was written over there that ready for accepting changes. Okay. And then next is entrepreneurship. You are seeing that nowadays all are coming up with small startups. All the youngsters are now all into startup. What is actually the startup? What is entrepreneurship? Children should be, in school itself, they should know what is entrepreneurship. How you can start this in your school. You tell them to make small a craft item, something maybe as Diwali went, you could have told them to bring I'm just giving you an example. You must be using a lot of various ideas because you all are teachers, so I'm just sharing something with you. Like suppose the children are bringing those diyas, and they are decorating it in the classroom, and when you have a Diwali exhibition or you have an exhibition in that, they can put the price, they will add the amount, they will keep the how much they have. Suppose if the diya is for 5 rupees and they have spent more 5 rupees in decoration and all, so they will see how much they have spent, and they will keep an amount for it, and it can be sold. So they will know the profit of it, they will get the profit. So that is also a sort of entrepreneurship which you can teach in your school, or doll making, or something like there are n number of things. Like if they are cooking without fire, if you have something for now children's day is there tomorrow, so suppose if you are having stalls, let the children put up those stalls what they have created. So they should have an estimate that how much they have spent on it and what was the profit what they gained. Okay, so that in that way, slowly they can start with a startup. From the school itself we can teach all these things, so you can give them chances in doing that. There are other things. Suppose if they are into you can say that in physics also you have a lot of science exhibitions, and some a fountain. Nowadays it is a generating a motor and everything. You all must have watched the movie Three Idiots. What it showed, that what was it all about, that the creativity, how Amir Khan showed his creativity instead of rote learning, right? So this is what even nowadays CBSE wants to say, that instead of rote learning we should make our children such that they have their own skills, they come up with their own skills, their own ideas, which will help them to earn for their own living. They don't have to be dependent on them. They will not be job seekers, instead they will be job givers. Okay, then that will also, the third point includes that personal growth. So how personal growth can be done? Creative thinking helps students to develop self expressions, confidence and adaptability. Adaptability here is what is how to adapt in different situations, how to move around with all the situations. Okay, to adapt everything, to adapt the nature, to adapt to risk taking. Okay, to move on with the the today's world. Then after that we have some teaching strategies which you can just see. Encourage experimentations. You can give them what I was telling you. Experimentation means that we are making or some fountain or whatever it is, so you encourage them, let them come up with some or the other experiments. You have such beautiful melas in your school, they can put up their own stalls. Then foster a growth mindset, emphasize learning from failures and exploring new ideas. We always say we learn from our failures, right? We learn from our mistakes. So, okay. So when you had joined as a teacher, wherever you are teaching or where you were teaching, you imagine how you were for the first time when you went to the class, and now you imagine how you are. So there is a difference between you before you had become a teacher 5 years back or 2 years back. There is a difference because you learned from your mistakes. Okay, so day to day we learn from our birth till our death. So learning is a continuous process, and we should accept our failures and work upon them so that we come up with good ideas. Then interdisciplinary learning, combine subjects to promote connections and creative thinking. I told you skill, life skills. Just incorporate all those things in your education, just not rote learning. See, by incorporating creative thinking into education, students can develop a valuable skill that benefits them academically, personally, and professionally also. Then what is the difference between critical and creative thinking? I showed you the video, so I think it is clear for you actually what is the difference. Critical and creative thinking are two distinct cognitive process. Okay, process. What is this? Critical thinking, what you can see is analytical, logical, evaluative, focuses on judgment, value, evaluation, and decision making, involves breaking down informations, identifying patterns, and making informed decisions. Whereas creative thinking is in imaginative, innovative, generative. Okay, your imaginations, what you see an artist, you see a singer, you see a dancer. Why they are creative? Because their imagination. I'm not telling you to go into an imaginary world or go into the fairy tales. No, not like that. You should also have that imaginations of that scenario. Suppose I have given you a scenario or a situation, so you have to imagine that I am into that scenario. Now how will I come out with my ideas? And I have given you a situation based, suppose I have given you a topic which is based on that situation. You have to put yourself in that situation, and then you have to take out the solution. Now focuses on generating new ideas, exploring possibilities and finding novel solutions, involves combining existing informations in new ways, making connections and embracing new possibilities. While critical thinking is about evaluating and refining ideas, existing ideas, creative thinking is about generating new ones. Okay. Now, critical thinking has, has a concrete based, you can say that when you're giving and you're putting up something, when you're into a debate or into a discussion, you should have the facts in your hand or the facts with you. Okay, so it is in that way which is existing, but creativity is all about generating new ideas, your own creativity, your own thinking, your own thinking skills, your own imaginations. So both skills are valued and complementary, often used together to solve problems and make informed decisions. We cannot say that critical thinking can only be used and creative thinking is of no use. No, both can be combined. Okay, both can be combined in one scenario also, and can come, and when you take out, when to solve a problem, it can be solved in a very, very nice informative way to take up some decisions. So you should try to merge both of them, not always, but try to do it so that you can get more informed decisions. So with this, we come to an end of this session. So I would like to wish all of you, I hope you enjoyed this session, and it is it was all about what you can do it in your classroom, and that uh, I hope that you will practice creative thinking as well as critical thinking in your classrooms also. And I wish all of you a very happy Children's Day in advance to your students, and all Johar for our 25th celebration of our state. So thank you so much. So I hope you enjoyed the session. So thank you so much for all your lovely comments. So see you every next time. And thank you to Patliputra Sahodya. Okay, thank you so much.